photo albums for gifts. I used to get them. I mean, remember, that's only 98, and it was only the space of 3 or 4 years, and photo albums were obsolete. But how nasty. I used to give Crystal, I guess, champagne or wine glasses because of Sunday dinner, Christmas dinner. How easily they're broken, so it's always hard to have a few extra ones. So yes, I am one of the people who rather give a gift than money, just because the people will have it all the time. These I didn't naturally use these as my wedding albums. I just put pictures in them after. This is actually Keith and Sherry at their wedding, Florenceville. I took 2 days off of work and drove out with Mom and Dad from Labrador in the old temple, the Burgundy Temple, and we stayed at the Inn in Florenceville and went to the wedding. And they actually had a dry wedding, or for a while they were going to, and but eventually the bar opened. But see, what difference does it make, right? Something at me said it wasn't okay, but I didn't need to drink. I may have had a drink. Then I had to go to the bar and buy myself a drink, which is sort of embarrassing anyway. But that was their wedding, and it was pretty. They're still together. And this is Samantha's wedding. They got married up here, her first wedding after they got married up here in Ontario. And Bruce Colburn and honestly Tracy Shepherd's wedding. And know both of them a little bit from around town, but Chris had been good friends with them. It's just he worked with Tracy, I guess, for a while. We didn't spend a lot of time with them as a couple. I don't know how he blames me, because I certainly went to Glenn and Tina's with you all the time and had them over to our house. And but anyway, sure. And let's see, some of our cards. I just cut them up and put them in. That's my friend Sheila and her husband Gerald. We lived together in a boarding house in university. When we were at university. Sort of like sisters, I guess. Cute little pictures. Pretty cards. And what's this? The Hickses. Or look at someone's picture and them wave, or them not be able to talk to you, and them just seem so big, when she goes into her room, and you're sitting at her crying and praying up to God to let her know again that you love her and the way you are, instead of what she probably sees when she looks at you. You can see her waving her little hand. It's in there somewhere. And here we are. This is the Loder family. That was just too bad, because we were friends with your mom and dad, We used to come over to my father's cabin there after he built it, and he helped my dad with a lot of stuff. I guess I'll take all the blame, because I'm the only one talking, and if you speak, then of course you're going to be the only one who has words attributed to you, even if you listen to it, and you can tell who's talking. I mean, yesterday it was the neighbor, and today it's mostly you guys, a few people in the pictures, because apparently there was some discussion about us getting together. It happens at weddings, I guess. I don't know, I never do. I don't know that kind of thing. I was taught not to talk about people, which made me hoity-toity and a goody-goody. It's just what it is, isn't it? Anyway, that's that album. 6B or 6A. 6A. 6B. And here we are at the signing ceremony. This is the roll of film that we gave to our Anthony, who's taking the pictures for us. Friend of Keith's. Friend of the family's, I guess. And he took the pictures for us. But this roll was black and white, but it's kind of nice. And it's in the church. Timeless, really. And that's something. Reverend Santa, she went to work at the penitentiary later, I had heard. Oh, we all have a calling, don't we? There we go. I have tried so often to free people from the penitentiary. And you get how they end up there, though, hey? What takes them over, because that's pretty funny, yeah. Alright, here we are in the car. Here we are outside the church. There's Joe and Carolyn, Chris's mom and dad, Keith and my mom. That's our engagement pictures. And I don't think it was Suter. Suter was in St. John's, the photographer. But it was, it might have been a Suter studio. I don't know what his name was. You knew him. He was from Walwish, wasn't he? And we bought all kinds of pictures and frames from them. They had a nice little business going there for a while. Money in, money out. It's still a good quality life. You don't notice it the same way until you've had to work in it and see how it works and watch how people are drawn in to spend the money and know that, tomorrow there's not going to be a dollar, at least for you, and not unlikely for wherever your daughter is, because if there's neither one now except a pretend one that's given by somebody, then how's there going to be one tomorrow? More engagement pictures. Marriage is a wonderful example of what happens when two people in love trust the Lord and seek His will for their lives. Maybe we do, right? But maybe you're just not there anymore. Maybe one of the accidents that I've seen you in my mind, you really had, and they just brought one of those other guys from over in Dunham there to come and take my child. And there's me and my mom. The boys from Brazil, you don't think that's real? You don't think they did more than one lot, right? The 1957 lot, and then the 1958 lot, and yeah. And sending more pictures of the church. I love that church. I used to go to bake sales there. When I went to teach, I had come home and I had gone to church, funnily enough, all the time with Mrs. Murphy at my boarding house in St. John's United Church. She went to the United Church. We went to all the different United Churches. We missed lots of Sundays, but we went a fair bit. Not for special occasions at all, because I would be home for special occasions. And I hadn't gone a lot in high school because I used to perspire, and it was just embarrassing. And I was in high school, and my skin was bad, and it just felt like people were looking at me, and then I'd start perspiring. So that's actually why. So I stopped going as much in high school. I went up till 12 or 13. I, went to Sunday school and things at home. And in Labrador, and I went to university, and I went to church with Mrs. Murphy when I lived with her, and then when I lived with Kathy and Neil, sometimes I went to the Catholic church with them, which was really nice, because it was just so comfortable, and they had guitar, and the children were there, and but then Dean moved in, Dean Morris, when he was studying medicine. Well, Sheila and I used to go to church sometimes, to the churches we'd gone with Mrs. Murphy, because she was there for a while, and then Dean Morris moved in when he was doing medicine, and he asked which church I went to, and I said I had been with Sheila. I didn't usually go by myself then either. I was still like I am. I just don't know if I can move. Maybe I have something to me about that, about being, because if you read about the Bible and Judaism and Islam and I guess Christianity, if you to a degree, if you read what it's supposed to be, we're supposed to, as women, sit quietly in church while the man does the talking, and then listen to what he tells us later. But anyway, he asked which church I went, and I said which one, and we started going to church together on Sundays. He went every Sunday. It was lovely. And to have company. And I can't find 7 or 8, so I'll go to 11. And that was in, I don't even know what I was getting at there, but there we go. Oh, so when I went home, and this is more of Keith's wedding pictures. Keith and my mom and Sherry and my dad. There he is. And me and Judy. And so we went to, when I went home to go to church, when I went home to teach, you had to have a reference from the minister, and I had gone to church all that time, but didn't have a reference. I sat quietly in the pew with everyone, a bigger place, I guess. I wasn't as involved. I just went to church. So I started going to church to get to know the minister and to get to my reference and get my reference. And once I had it, well, you heard the voice of you shouldn't just go and get your reference and stuff going, which I wouldn't have anyway. But perhaps it had to be said because perhaps the boy who walked me, whatever reason he was walking me, wouldn't have allowed me to keep going. And I was permitted then to go and sit in church with my mother, and then I was permitted to teach confirmation class and just be so involved in the church until, I started having the coughing and the sweating and things again. And gradually I got moved out after we got married, I guess. We tried to go, but it's just embarrassing. I'd be sitting there coughing. Can't even tell Chris from Richard there. Jeff's all shaven and shorn. And Isabel, 16, I believe, when she was married. Something like that. And I listen and I try and remember, but I can barely remember anything anymore. And so, yeah, I love church. That's what it was about. And this is Uncle Bill. He doesn't look the same at all anymore. But because I met him in Picton when you took me down to Picton, or whichever one of you it is that had to connect to Picton, and Richard and Chris. That's the back step that Ellis built when he was over doing putting the fence up for us. When my mom and I were there. So we used it for the barbecue after I married Chris. And they were up from Picton. I don't think it was the wedding. I think they came up there after or something to see Chris's mom. And there I am. Oinker. My goodness. Anyway, who would say that? And we're having barbecue fixins. And there they all are. Uncle Bill and I guess his wife probably. And Carol and Chris's mom. And Joe Chris's father. And Kelly Richard's wife. And Richard. Pat Crane. Bailey Crane. Who we visited in Picton all the time. Down on Bethel Road. And, well, there's Uncle Bob. He sadly passed away.